morning and welcome back to camp. Today we're going to go out and have a look at what I call my treasures, and we'll start up in the second pasture. We'll go across some storm creeks, and then we'll have some look at some beautiful staghorns, some elks, and we'll go around the property and have a look at the best ones lower down in the pastures, and then we'll go for a bit of a walk up, not too far from the mountain fence, where there was a heap of them growing on this big basalt boulders. So let's go and have a look. So this is the first of the storm creeks. These storm creeks run down from the mountain, and they only flow when it's raining. This one here, I've just had the tractor up here, and we've made this crossing a little bit easier for the four-wheel drive and the tractor. So you can see the water comes down here. They're basalt boulders there, and it comes down here, digs its way out, and the grass grows. That's the mountain fence just up there. You can see the dieback now in this pasture where I sprayed probably 8 weeks ago. It's so here's another storm creek. Under this area here, I've just put a 5-6 inch PVC pipes. You can see one just there. And this water, when it rushes down here, has exposed all these boulders. All these basalt boulders are underground here. They're absolutely everywhere. Okay, so you can see the dieback here from when I sprayed, and there's a little bit got onto this tree here. I'll come back, but that's what I'm talking about, is that up there. That's an absolutely beautiful staghorn, or it could be an elk. It's sort of, staghorn has all these leaves like stags, which that one has. And the elkhorn has the same sort of thing, very similar. But let's go in and take a closer look. That is absolutely magnificent. You can see where it's seeds or eggs will spawn under the leaf, and what we have here is half a dozen or so babies. They love these trees with the moss growing on them because that's their food. And how that plant survives is it lives in that spot, started up as a shield, and then all the leaves fall into the top of it, into its stomach, so to speak, and break down and becomes its food. That's probably the best one we have on the property. and I was very fortunate it hasn't been hit by the spray. As you can see around here, there's death everywhere and all these weeds. Yeah, magnificent. Let's go and have a look at some more. Good morning again. Welcome back. What I'm sitting on here is a giant basalt boulder. It's got lots of moss on it. It's got a shield there, other small shields all around the place where the staghorns and elkhorns have dropped their seed or the way they breed. This one here is the original plant that's been here 4 or 5 years, and there's one underneath it that's taken over. And up top you can see one here and smaller shields. There's a small shield there, little tiny ones up there, but you can see the layers in this basalt. If you look at it, you can see sedimentary rocks in layers through here. When it was being formed, there was some sort of smaller rock that had ended up in the mix. And on the property you can find that it's all quartz. So there is gold here, but it's very fine gold. This quartz is very small and it's in layers. Some places it becomes quite large, big pieces of quartz. But the only food that these beautiful plants have are the breakdown of the forest, where the leaves drop into the back of them here and break down and makes this beautiful compost. It's actually everywhere here, this compost. So let's have a closer look. And we'll do a walk around this big rock. This is where I like to bring people and take photos. I usually sit them here and take a photo from out towards the west there. So that's the original plant there. And then we've had a secondary plant start off underneath it here. And that one's in very good condition. We'll walk around the side here. There's another one here. Another one here. That one there, of course. And I didn't know how these ones would go because I sprayed all this bush here, as you can tell. So there's a good example of a shield forming. And they start off very small. There's one there, a very little tiny one. It's pretty dry at the moment, so hopefully these will survive. But they're getting all their moisture and everything from behind. So we're just walking up behind this rock. And you can see the layers in this rock here, this basalt, where it's harder, and that's the little tiny quartz. There's quartz in this as well, but little tiny quartz there, which makes it harder, and when it weathers, the softer material goes first. It's a beautiful rock though. Alright, so This tree here has always had stags on. Nice one there. Little one there. Another one up there. This used to have them on this face of this rock here, but you can see where it died. The little smaller one, I think these were elk horns. They have this different leaf on them rather than the big. They're probably a little bit more sensitive. The staghorns seem to do better. But anyway, let's move on. And okay, so we're back here in the second pasture, the ravine where the storm creeks run behind the camera. I'll show you those shortly. But you can clearly see a staghorn here. She's been producing. She's got all her reproductive thingos going on. Up in the middle there, it's an elkhorn. You can see the difference in the elkhorn fern. They have a shield, but they have this greener elkhorn type leaves to them. And as we go up, we go back up into staghorns again. There's one right up the very top that's dying. I think it's copping curry from the sun. We've got a branch that's broken off up there. It's down on the ground up here, and I think it's getting too much sun on the top, and it's actually still shading all these down here. And they're all doing the same thing. They're all collecting leaves, and the leaves break down inside the plant, and that's their food. Let's see if I can get down here. It's quite steep here. So that you can see these this elkhorn here has got multiple plants. It breeds completely different. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plants within itself there, and its leaves are like that. Where the staghorns, staghorns are one plant, and they throw these out, and underneath these are you can see the brown spore there that gets blown around. Now these guys here, they were only very small when we first came here 6 years ago, and now look at them, absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, I'll see if I can just turn around and show you the, whoops. So this is up on quite a steep bank, which is part of the, I call them ravines. In Australia we call them gullies. But you can see the basalt boulders there that are underground. You can see them there and up there. And these basalt boulders end up in the creek. As the storm waters run down through here, they wash the topsoil down and erode it. And what's left is the boulders. And this goes right up the mountain. And this will join up to at least 3 or 4 that end up down into the second dam. So that's why we end up with torrents of water overflowing in that second dam, is because of the amount of runoff from the mountain. But there's a lot of dieback here. All these dead plants are from when I sprayed it 8 weeks ago. It kills the woody weeds, like this tobacco bush here. and kills it. And then it generally leaves the grass alone. You can see the grass, paspalum grass here below it. It's all in good condition, growing well. So the cattle will eat that. The original product that this poison came from was called graze-on, meaning that you could spray the bush and then graze the cattle on. And, here you can see the dieback. Yep. Very good. So let's move on to the next one. Oh, we might get a close-up of these plants first. There's that one that's dying back there. This branch here, this tree branch has fallen down. And there's a classic example of an elk there, a couple of elks. Elks are just as nice as the staghorns. Anyway, let's move and we'll have a look at some others.